Hello Crypto Finder crew, today we're talking about shitcoins and we're going to look at 5 lessons you can learn about shitcoins, and then after we've gone through that we'll give you a checklist of what to look out for to buy a good shitcoin. As always, this isn't financial advice, so you should do your own research. I'm just sharing with you what I think and you can hopefully learn something from it. Number 1, get in early and get out early. Let's have a look at Shiba Inu, which you've probably all heard of because it was going crazy in the news and on social media the last couple of months. So one thing I've learned from trading shitcoins is that once you've heard about it, it's probably too late. And in the case of Shiba Inu, you saw big news sites talking about it at around the time that you should sell. So as a general rule, once a shitcoin is pumped, it is way too late to be thinking about getting involved in it. So that is a huge red flag, don't do that. So if a meme coin has pumped 10,000%, there's not really any more room for it to go, and you're just buying lots and lots of downside, and the coin is probably going to crash. If it's pumped, leave it alone. So shitcoins typically follow a similar pattern where they'll go essentially parabolic and then crash back down to zero. And I can show you another example, which is SHITCOIN, the one that I talked about in a previous video. You can see that things start to take off here. There's a bit of a drop, they take off a bit more, there's a bit of a drop, and then there's this insane, almost vertical pump. And so you're trying to sell it as close to the top as possible, which is obviously going to be super, super difficult to do, especially when you're seeing your money double in like a matter of hours over and over and over again. So what you got to do is try and be in tune with that and sell when that euphoria starts to kick in. And probably when you start to feel like a genius is the exact time you should hit sell. So here you can see the coin pumped, crashed back down, and then pumped again even bigger. Things generally follow this cycle, or have done quite a lot in the shitcoin world. So just because something's pumped once doesn't mean it could never pump again. We've seen that the most with things like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. But what I'm saying here is that you don't want to be buying it when it's pumping or close to that pump. So for example with SHITCOIN, it's pumped here, but it's crashed back down to almost the pre-pump levels by here. So buying in here is maybe not the worst idea, but buying up around here or in this choppy bit, you're quite likely to still get burned quite a lot. Point number 2, so you've got to watch out for exit liquidity and fees. So it's often tempting when you find yourself an obscure shitcoin to think, oh, I found this niche thing, it's going to be the next Shiba or whatever. But the big problem is that if no one else has heard of your shitcoin and no one's trading it, then there's no what's called liquidity to sell into. So that can be a problem where basically you might have thousands or even millions of this coin, but if you can't sell it to anyone, then it doesn't count for anything. So liquidity is effectively how easy something is to convert into cash. So if something's very liquid, it's easy to sell, cash being the most liquid asset there is. Something that's really difficult to sell might be like a house, a lot less liquid and a lot more difficult to sell. When we're talking about shitcoins, you want there to be a degree of liquidity so that you can sell your shitcoins and actually get cash. So you might be wondering how you look out for liquidity, and here's a few ways that I do it. There's a website called Dex Guru which gives you the liquidity up here, and then there's also a website called tcoins that you could use, and you can use both of these to look for liquidity. And there's also a thing here on Dex Guru that says transactions in the last 24 hours. So you're looking for a coin that's got a bit of activity. You can also see here recent trades that are going on, and same on tcoin. Basically you want to see activity, because if there's none, you're not going to be able to sell to anyone and you're just going to hold billions of shit tokens and no one's going to want to buy them off you. On many of these shitcoins you can lose a lot on slippage, lose 10 to 20% or even more on slippage. So you've got to watch out for that, because that can really eat into your returns. Similarly, there's gas fees that you have to look out for. That can eat into your returns. So this and the exit liquidity are just something you need to be aware of when you're looking at a shitcoin. Let's say that you're willing to gamble, because that's effectively what we're doing. £1,000. So you got £1,000 and you're going to buy 10 shitcoins, let's say. 9 out of 10 of those are probably going to go to zero. So that's 900 out of your £1,000 you're probably going to lose. But what we're hoping is that 1 out of the 10 times is at least to recoup your stake of £1,000, or maybe it'll 100 times, or maybe it'll 1,000 times, or maybe it'll 10,000 times, and that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. So losing is something that you've got to be prepared for, And that's why we say don't invest more than you're willing to lose, because that would be a crazy thing to do. You could think of it a little bit like how book publishers buy lots and lots of unknown, unheard of titles in the hope that one of them becomes the next Harry Potter.
But I'm just Harry!
So point number 4 is that whales can crash the coin that you've bought. So it's often the case that the developers and the teams which build these shitcoins own a massive amount of the supply. So what that means is that you're at risk that one day they're just going to sell, run off, and crash the whole market that you were in for that shitcoin. This is a big risk to be aware of, and it's commonly called being rugged or a rug pull in the crypto community. What many shitcoin teams try to do is just drum up enough hype and liquidity to then essentially rug pull all the people who've bought into that hype and provided liquidity for that shitcoin. This could happen to anyone, anytime. This is part of the risk. This is why 9 out of 10 of your shitcoins will probably fail, or more, but it's just something you've got to be aware of. So point 5, and this is probably the most important one, and I know we've stressed it already, but do not invest more than you're willing to lose into shitcoins. So this is the most important part of the video. You shouldn't be throwing money that you might actually need into these stupid sounding coins, which you've seen horror stories about on the internet. We've covered how you could build a sort of sensible overall financial situation for yourself in a previous video. This is not that video. Because I've been making these videos about shitcoins and crypto, a friend of a friend got in touch who's working on his own shitcoin with a group of his friends. So let us know in the comments if you'd like us to do a video about that. We're really interested to hear from him. So we're thinking we chat to them and find out more about the project. So let us know in the comments if you're interested. So with all of those points in mind, what is the checklist for looking for a shitcoin that's got the potential to do 10,000% returns? Number 1, I'd say, is you have to be very new to the coin, or if you're late, it has to have completely died. No one should be talking about it. It should be back as close to zero as it can get. Number 2, the coin that you're looking at has to be a reasonable size. There's got to be a sweet spot between it being new and unheard of, and it also may be having enough hype around it so that there's liquidity there and activity there so that you can actually sell. And then third and finally, which is linked to the previous one, there needs to be a reasonable buzz around the coin. So you've got to look on Reddit, look on Twitter. Are people talking about it on Discord? There's a lot of bots, so that's going to be a lot of noise that you've got to sift through, and you've got to use your brain a bit to determine what's noise and what's not. It's also good if there's someone like super influential in the space talking about the coin. But always you've got to be aware that you could be the one that's being sold to, and you could be the one that ends up holding the bag. So you just got to have your wits about you, really. And finally, just to reiterate, this should not be part of your main financial strategy. You want to have your life in order and not be a complete degenerate. So lastly, if you want to actually buy a shitcoin, you can't do it just by buying it on something like Coinbase or Binance. For instance, with ASS, I had to buy that on a thing called PancakeSwap. So it can be quite a lengthy process, and you end up going into the crypto weeds quite a lot, and it can get quite confusing. If you'd like us to do a video about that, let us know in the comments. If not, just Google it, and unfortunately you're on your own. So that's it for this video. Hopefully it's been useful for you if you're interested in buying shitcoins. If you liked it, like the video. If you want to comment about it, put a comment in. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you found it useful for you and your shitcoin journey. Good luck out there, and take into account some of the things I've said about the risks. Leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos.